From the earliest days of your life, you were conditioned to believe that explaining yourself is a virtue. Parents demanded reasons for your behavior. Why did you do that? Teachers insisted on justifications for every answer, drilling into you that clarity and transparency equal strength. Society rewards those who can defend themselves with words and punishes those who remain silent. But Machiavelli, the cold observer of power, saw through this illusion centuries ago. He understood that explanation is not a tool of strength, but a signal of weakness. To explain is to admit that someone else has the authority to question you and that you are obligated to respond. It is to kneel before their judgment, to surrender your position of dominance. The powerful do not explain, they act, they declare. They move forward without asking permission and without giving apologies. Silence is not emptiness, it is armor. It forces others to fill the void with their own imagination, and imagination always creates a figure far greater, more dangerous, and more respected than the fragile truth of your words. In the theater of power, explanation lowers the curtain on your mystery, while silence keeps the audience on edge. That tension, that uncertainty, is the foundation of respect. History writes its lessons in the ruins of empires. Look at Emperor Charles V, ruler of vast lands stretching from Spain to the Holy Roman Empire. He was a man of immense power, but also of endless words. Every war, every tax, every decision was followed by proclamations, letters, speeches, designed to justify himself to nobles, allies, and subjects. He believed explanation would secure loyalty, but it did the opposite. Each justification revealed uncertainty. Each defense weakened his image. By exposing the inner workings of his power, he gave rivals the blueprint to dismantle it. Contrast this with Queen Elizabeth I of England. Surrounded by conspiracies, foreign threats and whispers questioning her legitimacy, she often chose silence. When accused, she rarely explained. Instead, she let her presence, her carefully crafted image, her deliberate mystery, speak louder than words. Her silence created fear and fascination. People projected strength onto her because she refused to reveal doubt. That silence became a weapon, transforming her from a vulnerable monarch into a figure of near-mythic authority. Machiavelli would point to these two rulers as proof of his law. Explanation makes power human and fragile. Silence cloaks it in divinity. One king lost his throne to overtalk, while one queen secured her crown through restraint. This law is not confined to kings and queens. It bleeds into everyday life. Think of the workplace. A manager questions your decision, and instead of standing firm, you drown them in explanations. Each word chips away at authority until you sound less like a leader and more like a subordinate, begging to be understood. Or in relationships, your partner accuses you of being distant, and you rush to explain, piling reasons upon reasons. Yet the more you talk, the less respected you become. Friends do the same. A misunderstanding arises, and instead of letting silence hold its weight, you chase their approval with explanations that only feed doubt. Machiavelli would warn, every explanation you give anchors your value to the judgment of others. You become dependent on their acceptance, enslaved by their approval. But silence forces them to confront their own insecurities. When you say nothing, they begin to wonder, was there a deeper reason? Was there a calculation? Was its strength too great to reveal? Their imagination fills the void, and imagination always exaggerates. The silent man becomes mysterious, untouchable, larger than life. In daily life, explanation shrinks you to human scale. Silence elevates you into something others cannot measure, cannot predict, and therefore must respect. To apply this ruthless law in practice, discipline is your sharpest weapon. The first tactic is mastering the pause. When someone questions you, your instinct will scream for release. Explain yourself. Resist it. Hold the silence until it becomes heavy, until the other person feels its weight pressing against them. In that silence, the balance of power shifts. The second tactic is to replace explanations with declarations. Do not say, "I did this because..." That is the voice of weakness. Instead, say, "It is done." Or even colder, "That is the decision." These phrases cut off discussion at its root, leaving no space for interrogation. The third tactic is selective silence. Not every message deserves an answer. Not every criticism deserves a defense. By ignoring, you elevate yourself above the noise, forcing others to adapt to your terms. Finally, cultivate inevitability. Make your silence appear not as hesitation, but as natural authority. When people start saying, "He never explains, he doesn't need to," you have built a reputation stronger than any argument. Machiavelli knew that mystery multiplies respect, while transparency drains it. By refusing to explain, you create an aura that others cannot penetrate. And that aura becomes your shield, your sword, and your strategy. The fiercest enemy in this law is not outside. It lives within you. It is the fear of being misunderstood. That fear gnaws at men, driving them to overtalk, to justify, to spill their strength into the hands of others. Politicians caught in scandal collapse under it, speaking for hours in desperate attempts to clear their names. Leaders accused of weakness drown themselves in speeches, but every word makes them smaller, more fragile, more guilty in the eyes of the crowd, and ordinary men are no different. In arguments they repeat, "That's not what I meant," until they sound guilty even when they are not. Machiavelli warned that men are not destroyed by their enemies, but by their own compulsion to reveal too much. The truth is brutal. Explanations do not create clarity. They create suspicion. Every reason you give becomes another thread to be pulled, another weapon to be turned against you. Silence, on the other hand, closes every door. It forces others to guess, to invent, to project their own fears. And imagination is always harsher than reality. The leash of fear, fear of being misjudged, tames strong men into weakness. To master this law, you must break that leash. Let them misunderstand, let them speculate, because respect is not built on being understood. It is built on being beyond understanding. To live by this law, you need weapons sharper than excuses. Replace explanations with words that close doors instead of opening them. When someone demands, "Why did you do this?" the weak man pleads, "Because I thought it was right, because you misunderstood, because I had no choice." Each word digs his grave deeper. The strategist replies with iron, "It is done." Or he shifts the frame entirely. What matters is what comes next. These are not reasons, they are declarations. When someone insists, "You owe me an explanation," the weak man surrenders. The strategist cuts back, "I owe you nothing but results." Notice the difference. One bows, the other commands. Apply this ruthlessness everywhere. When criticized online, do not reply. When a co-worker presses for answers, deflect. That's not the issue. When someone close demands endless reasons, cut it short. That's my decision. Each phrase slices away weakness. Each silence builds hierarchy. The less you explain, the more others imagine. And imagination is always crueler, darker, and more powerful than truth. Machiavelli understood this. Respect and fear are not born from honesty, but from control. Explanations surrender control. Silence seizes it back. The world bends not to those who justify, but to those who declare and move forward without apology. Power does not belong to those who beg to be understood. It belongs to those who rise above the noise, who stand untouchable, unreachable, unquestionable. Machiavelli's law may sound cruel, but it is freedom. Never explain yourself. Each justification is a chain binding you to the judgment of others. Each excuse is a confession of weakness. But silence is sovereignty. When you refuse to explain, you step outside their frame. You no longer play by their rules, you force them to play by yours. The world may hate you, they may resent you, but they will respect you, because they cannot control you. Legends are born not from men who defend themselves, but from men who refuse to. Think of the rulers remembered as immortal. They did not leave long explanations. They left declarations carved in history. Silence transforms ordinary men into mysteries, and mystery is the soil where fear, awe, and respect grow. To explain is to shrink. To remain silent is to expand. This is why the strategist lives cold, not to be loved, not to be understood, but to be respected. In silence lies the power to command without kneeling, to dominate without defending, to endure without breaking. Refuse to explain. Become untouchable. If you're ready to take these strategies beyond theory, check the pinned comment. The link I left there is the next step to becoming truly untouchable. The law is merciless, but it is the path to true authority. Never explain yourself. Those who obey it walk untouchable. Those who break it crawl under the weight of their own words. You've seen how rulers lost crowns by talking too much, and how others carved their place in history by saying nothing at all. You've felt it in your own life. Every time you over-explained, respect slipped away. But when you resisted, when you held your silence, the atmosphere changed. Power is not given to men who seek approval. It bends to men who refuse to kneel. If you want to take this further, the next step is waiting for you. Check the pinned comment for tools that will sharpen your mind and discipline. And if you're ready to master Machiavelli's ruthless psychology, subscribe to the Cold Strategist. Turn on the bell, so you never miss the next law of power revealed. Now, leave your mark below. Have you lost respect by explaining too much? Or have you seen silence command more fear than words ever could? Share your story, because here, your words feed the strategy. This is not motivation. This is not comfort. This is power, cold, silent, unshakable. The strategist's path is not for everyone, but for those who walk it, respect is inevitable.